Poof! After over 4 years, my direct engagement in the Polish-Canadian affairs is coming to a close. You'll do me a great pleasure if you listen to my report of the state of the Polish-Canadian affairs. My time in Canada was absolutely extraordinary. It was an extraordinary context. Canada started perceiving Poland as a humanitarian superpower. That is because our support of the Polish people to the Ukrainian refugees. At that time, Canada started looking at Poland also in terms of the levels of our spending for defense, and because of how successfully we were able and how quickly we were able to conduct procurements and purchases in the area of military, in the area of defense. It was well noticed in Canada that Poland in 1989 was about a 60th economy of the world, while today we are 20th economy. And this is, in economic sense, an extraordinary progress. And in this regard, we have become a very important and strong partner in terms of trade diversification processes for Canada, which started in recent years and continues and will continue in future. There are at least two ways of assessing the quality of a bilateral relationship between countries. One can be counting the number of high-level visits. Another method would be looking at the number of documents, governmental documents, being signed. Since 2022, the Canadian Prime Minister visited Poland 5 times. Out of that, 3 were the official visits. The other way around, from Poland to Canada, we had visits of all the highest VIPs. We had the President, we had the Speaker of Sejm, we had the Speaker of Senate twice, and we had the Prime Minister here. Our ministerial visits, the so-called cabinet ministers or constitutional ministers, as we call it in Poland, are visiting Canada and Poland statistically every month. We had historic first-time visits to Canada from Poland of Minister of Health, Minister of Infrastructure, and Minister, in this case, Deputy Prime Minister of Digital Affairs. The number of delegations, parliamentary delegations going to Poland are at this point difficult to be counted. And similar is the case with the delegations on the business side, going both ways. In terms of bilateral documents, we had MOU in the area of defense cooperation between our ministers of defense. We had an MOU on the clinical trials between Health Canada and Office of Medicinal Products from Poland. We had an agreement on protection of classified information signed by our intelligence agencies, agreements on nuclear cooperation signed by our prime ministers, joint statement on enhancing Polish-Canadian strategic partnership introduced by our foreign ministries, a letter of intent structuring our defense industry cooperation signed by our ministers of national defense. We remember that the base of our relationship is history and is our historic brotherhood in arms. In 1917, 22,000 troops that trained in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, moved to Europe to liberate Western Europe and to liberate Poland during and after the First World War. We remember General Maciek Armored Division that cooperated with the Canadians in liberating Western Europe. As well, we remember the Canadian pilots, airmen, that provided support to the Warsaw Uprising in 1944. We were together in Afghanistan with the beginning of the 21st century, and we are together on the eastern NATO flank in Latvia, but also in Poland, protecting NATO. There are many examples, many topics in the area of our security and defense cooperation. I would highlight one thing, which is a showcase of our relationship. This year, Poland was the so-called spotlight nation at Kansek, the biggest Canadian military defense fair, trade show. And also this year, in September, Canada will be the so-called lead nation in MSPO Kielce, which is the third biggest military trade show in Europe. A couple of words about economy, trade relations and energy. When I was beginning my mission in 2022, the levels of Polish exports to Canada were about 1,500 million euros. In 2025, we reached 2,600 million euros. Similar figures are to be noticed on the side of imports. We are happy to observe that Poland continuously carries a surplus in terms of trade with Canada. Energy is a strategic topic in the Polish-Canadian relations. We cooperate on many levels and in many areas. When it comes to nuclear, Westinghouse, a Canada-owned company, is building the first large-scale nuclear power plant in Poland. Recently, Candu reactors joined the bid for the second nuclear power plant in Poland. When it comes to SMRs, small modular reactors, Poland is the #1 non-North American country that is participating in introducing that project here in Canada and partnering with Canadian companies in this regard. When it comes to renewables, we are working closely. A very good example is the Baltic Power, a wind power plant, the biggest on Baltic Sea wind power plant being built currently, with participation of Orlen, Polish company, and Northland Power, the Canadian company. When it comes to hydrogen, many don't know, maybe haven't known, that Poland is a big actor in hydrogen. We are one of the biggest European producers, and we are developing new technologies in that regard. That's why it was a great pleasure and honor for me to organize in 2024 the first ever Polish hydrogen mission to Canada. Let me provide you with a definition of Polonia. Canadian Polonia are people that came in to Canada from Central Eastern Europe in waves, migration waves. They came, they built Canada, while at the same time they preserved their culture and their heritage. Culture and heritage for which they are deeply appreciated by Canadians. It was a distinct pleasure to serve our community here in Canada. For me, it was hard diplomatic work during the week and work or being with Polonia over weekends. Hard work, but also great pleasure. Polonia feels like home. Out of hundreds of events, sponsored, co-sponsored, organized, co-organized by the Polish Embassy, by Consulates General, by our honorary consuls in Canada, I will particularly remember the introduction of the Polish Heritage Month in 2024. It was an initiative, and it was lobbied by Polish Canadian Congress and many other organizations, but it was a success of the entire Polonia. And it was the confirmation of the successful presence of our community here in Canada, which was supported unanimously by all the politicians from all the parties present in the House of Commons. Poland is very well received in Canada. We have a very positive visibility among the Canadian officials, among the Canadian society. With hundreds or thousands of events organized, co-organized by the embassy, by our consulates general, by our honorary consuls, but also with many activities on the side of the Polish community of the Polonia, some of which are lobbying activities. Our picture is strong and stronger with every year. In this regard, the embassy was able to establish a very strong relationship, very strong connections with some of the top Canadian media outlets with the top media anchors, which we use to benefit additionally the picture of Poland.
This weekend, Poland's ambassador to Canada, Witold Dzielski, called out the reception.
And Witold Dzielski is the Polish ambassador to Canada.
Hi, Ambassador. Good to have you here back in studio.
Ambassador Dzielski, do you think we're any close?
Ambassador, good to see you again here.
And hopefully I get this correct. Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry.
There we go.
That's very good. Poland. We have established a particularly strong connection with the Canadian Parliament, with the House of Commons. As we, for many years, there was a Canadian-Polish friendship group in the House of Commons that invigorated the parliamentary relationships. Starting in this year, in 2026, we have an additional group, which is the Nordic-Baltic Poland Parliamentary Friendship Group. And the fact that Poland is participating in 2 parliamentary friendship groups in the Canadian Parliament is a sign of how well we are received here, but also a sign of true friendship and alignment in terms of our values and the significance of our cooperation. Over the 4 years, the embassy hosted, co-organized hundreds of soft diplomacy events. But within that group, I would like to draw your attention to a particular area of sport diplomacy. I had a real privilege to be a co-founder and one of the presidents of the Ottawa Running Diplomats Club. A place, a venue, a group of people that join to enjoy sports, but also to exchange information, to become friends and be better diplomats. Another project, the International Hallers Run, that since 4 years is taking place both in Canada and in Poland, was the first initiative ever that received the honorary patronage of the Canadian Minister of National Defense. And this is something that we are very proud of. As we joined forces with Professor Leszek Sybilski, a Polish sociologist from New York, who introduced World Bicycle Day in the United Nations, we not only celebrated the World Bicycle Day, organized races, events, picnics around that occasion, but we lobbied in the city of Ottawa, so it became the first city in the world that proclaimed June 3rd the World Bicycle Day. And as far as picnics are concerned, we organized a bunch of them. Soccer picnics, volleyball picnics, and other events that allowed for the Canadians, for the Polonia, for the diplomatic corps, for the Canadian politicians to be together, enjoy, build closer friendship, even closer relations, and good, strong partnerships. I'm happy to report to you that my work was well received in Canada. I was honored to have received the award of an Ambassador of the Year in 2025. I was also the first Polish ambassador to receive a Ignacy Jan Paderewski Medal from the Canadian Polish Congress, and I was also humbled to be the first Polish ambassador to receive the Golden Cross of the Polish Combatant Association of Canada. In the course of my mission to Canada, I had an honor and pleasure to work with many very good people. I would like to thank the former President of the Republic of Poland, Mr. Andrzej Duda, for entrusting me with this mission. I also would like to thank the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland, Mr. Radosław Sikorski, for his continuous engagement in strengthening the quality of the Polish-Canadian relations. The value of the Polish-Canadian relationship is universal. I would like to thank all the partners from all the political parties in Poland and in Canada for their direct engagement, for their support and guidance. I would also like to very much thank my dear, spectacular colleagues from the embassy, from consulates general, from the Polish Trade and Investment Agency present in Canada, as well as from our wonderful honorary consuls. Here I would like to thank my dear colleagues and friends, Canadian ambassadors to Poland, Leslie Scanlon and Catherine Godin, with whom I had the pleasure and honor to work with over these years. My special thanks again go to Polonia, to the Polish community in Canada, a superb ally of Poland. And my very, very, very special thanks go to my family, to my wife and my two sons, who, with a smile on their faces, were able to survive a very active period of an adventure in my professional life, but in our family life together as well. Long live Poland, long live Canada. Thank you so much.